I look at that and I go, what does that even mean? An AI transformation manager, right? What does that, I mean, that just means someone who's really good at change management.
Hello, welcome to the Rose and Rockstar from the Rockstar CMO effing marketing podcast and the Marketing Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ian Truscott. I'm not a rockstar, but I am a CMO. If you're new to the podcast, in a moment I will join my chum, Chief Troublemaker at 7th Bear, Robert Rose, in our virtual bar, the Rose and Rockstar, where he recommends one of his fabulous cocktails and I pick his brains on a marketing topic that is top of mind for me. This week, Robert has a fabulous cocktail for the Californian sunshine, and we discuss a LinkedIn post by author, keynote speaker, and business transformation consultant Tom Goodwin that starts with the line, "The less you know about something, the better the AI solution seems to be." But first, we need to pay the bar tab. I'll be back in a moment.
We'll be right back. After this word.
We'll be right back.
After this word. Raise the rudder! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more to reach the professionals who are more likely to find your ad relevant. Plus, with 1 billion members on LinkedIn, that means you'll have access to 130 million decision makers and 10 million C-level executives. That's a lot of millions of the right people. Get started today and see how you can reach the right buyers with LinkedIn's enhanced targeting tools. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-8444-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the bar.
Thank you very much, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I am very glad that it's the end of the week. I'm very much looking forward to a weekend away from screens, away from recording devices, away from all things digital. But other than that, it's been a lovely week. And
nice.
And yours?
And nice. Is it beautiful in California in the weather?
It is indeed. Oh yes. This is. It's coming a bit later than it normally comes, which is usually January, February that's when you want to be in Southern California because it's
nice.
72. Well, I can't do the calculus into Celsius, but yes, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And sunny, all the time, which is, brilliantly and lovely. That's now coming now. I mean, so we've had a week of this where it's just been absolutely gorgeous, very much like the opening of a Simpsons episode, that blue sky with the puffy white clouds and, 72 degrees and just absolutely gorgeous outside. So it's been a very nice time to be taking walks and getting out for some hikes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just did a quick check on our, because we're having quite a warm spring the last week or so, and today apparently it made 19 degrees Celsius, which is 66 degrees Fahrenheit, so nearly as nice as it is there, which is
that's
very
brilliant.
rare.
No, that's lovely.
It's sitting outside writing time instead of being changed.
Yeah, and if it's sunshine, that's even more brilliant.
It's been nice all week. So fantastic. So I'm obsessed with the weather on this podcast.
Well,
so what are we going to drink?
Have a cocktail to match. Yes, indeed.
Splendid.
We're having an outside drink, something that can be enjoyed and should be enjoyed outside on a porch or a patio or something. It's a simple thing. Now you have to like. Okay, so I pronounce it basil. Do you say basil or basil?
Oh, we say basil
for the herb.
Yeah. Well, we don't say herb; we say herb.
Okay, that's true. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And we say basil.
The name. Okay, basil. So I say basil. I'm sure that comes from my Scottish mother.
Yeah.
And so basil. So it's a spiked sparkling basil lemonade is what this is. And so it takes a bit of time to prepare. So it's good that I've had time to prepare it for us because what we want to do is take your basil and infuse it into vodka. So which means basically cutting it up into small pieces, putting it into a jar with some vodka, shake it up, and 6 hours is pretty much the minimum. But I like to do mine overnight. And basically infuse the vodka with your basil. It turns it a brilliant color of green, by the way. And then you can shake it occasionally just to keep it going. And then the other thing is to take the rest of your basil that you've purchased at the farmer's market or whatever, and blend it with sugar, and which also turns the sugar a little bit of a green. So then you take all of that and you take your vodka, strain it, obviously, so you don't get small pieces of basil into your drink, and then basically put it into whether you like a shaker or whether you want to pour it directly into the glass, whatever you want to do there. Then you have your basil infused vodka going in, and then before you do that, rim your glass with the basil sugar, so you have a nice, beautiful basil sugar, and then basically add a little bit of lemonade, and then so I'm going to let you determine how much lemonade versus how much vodka yourself. I prefer a little more vodka to lemonade, but that's entirely up to you and taste. Garnish with a lemon slice, and you have not only a very pretty summery drink, just a beautiful looking drink, but you have something that's very refreshing, very lovely. Assuming, of course, you like the taste of basil, but it's wonderful way to enjoy a summer or spring warm afternoon.
It sounds nice, like pesto in a glass.
Yes, it's lovely.
Fantastic.
It's absolutely lovely.
Well, I've got a question for you, mate, while we're sitting here in the bar. And I saw a post from Tom Goodwin on LinkedIn, as so many
just
thousands.
one. I mean, usually with Tom Goodwin, you're going to see at least 9 or 10 of them in a row. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
I kid because I love Tom.
But what I thought was really interesting about the post was it echoed what I think you've said a few times, and
that's rare. That's a rarity. That's a rarity.
I think looking at this post, I will include a link in the show notes, obviously, to the original post.
Sure.
But I think you were somewhat more succinct than this particular post.
Yeah,
but what I wanted to
not hard.
What I wanted to talk about, and that's the same thing as the thing that Tom's saying, I think it's the same as what you say, is this idea that in order to effectively use generative AI, and I know that we're all talking about Ghibli and all that bollocks at the moment, but what I mean is just, using it as a research tool, is you need a bit of subject matter expertise. You don't need to be an expert in AI. So I thought maybe I'd ask you about that. What's your view and experience of that so far?
Yeah, well, I've been doing I'm going down the rabbit hole on this quite a bit. The headline here is, this whole, what does getting good at AI mean? Right? We're being prodded and prompted and, forgive the pun there, but the, to quote unquote, get good at AI before AI takes your job. You know what I mean? And so to me, I've always struggled with that whole idea because what does getting good at AI mean? Does it mean better prompting? Almost certainly not. I've never taken one prompt engineering class in my life, and I get tremendous value out of AI, right? So I don't feel like you have to have a prompting, a doctorate in prompting engineering. That feels so much like the old HTML coding of late. It's like you have to speak in a particular language to make the AI work productively for you. No. So it's not that. So what is it actually? Is it just learning how to use the tool? That just seems to come with experience and sort of being able to do it, not unlike typing, right? It just becomes sort of secondary nature to you. Or using, good at using a computer, or is it, so what does getting good at AI mean? And the conclusion, at least at this point that I've come to, is that what it means is that you have to be good at the thing you want to be good at, right? In other words, in order to recognize what good looks like, and in order to recognize the question you want help with to ask, you have to be able to recognize what good looks like, and you have to be able to recognize what a good salient question will be. And so when clients have been saying to me, how do I get good at AI? My suggestion to them is, go get good at the thing you want to be good at AI with, and then you'll be good at AI, right? And so it's, in other words, if you want to be good at marketing with AI, you go get good at marketing, and then you'll be great at marketing with AI. If you want to get good at history, go get good at history, and then you'll be even better with AI with history. So that's the premise here. And the secondary thing is that when we look at that, especially as we start getting into things like agentic AI, where you set goals. And I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine in a mastermind group last week where we were talking about one of the big problems that's going to emerge with agentic AI is the goals that we give it. And he used the example, and I love this example. He said, so say you have a marketing agent, right, that's going to go out and buy media for you and optimize content and really look at your marketing and basically do all these things in an autonomous way. And one person in your organization gives the agent basically the direction or the goal to do so as financially, fiscally responsible as possible, as efficient as possible as it comes to the numbers. And the other person in your organization gives the agent, the agentic AI, the goal, do so as creatively as possible, doing as many experiments creatively and impactful as possible without regard to budget.
Right.
You're going to get two very different results. And which one is better? Only a human can recognize which one is ultimately better. And so that means, when you start to think of it, you've got to be able to recognize which one is more of those goals is more important, because AI will dutifully do both of them in very different ways.
Yeah, and so I think really what the other thing with this post that Tom Goodwin put out was it sort of seems to be about hiring as well. Do we need to even, is there something that's going to be on somebody's job description or in a job advert where somebody needs to be good at AI? It sounds like not, right? I think these tools are going to be so intuitive; they're just part of what we do. Do you think so?
Here's the thing that I think is interesting, though, because what we often fail, and this is, by the way, endemic to consulting and agencies and sort of the world that we live in as quote unquote thought leaders or influencers or anything along those sides, right? Where we're helping guide decision making, right? Is we often get in our own way of the right answer versus what's actually going to happen. And what I mean by that is, in this particular case, yes, you are correct. Hiring based on skills and AI is probably a quixotic tilting at windmills kind of effort, right? It's kind of silly and ridiculous, ultimately. However, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And I mean, literally today I saw a LinkedIn post from someone from one of the AI companies basically touting, hyping, talking, promoting the number of jobs in big companies, big, forward-leaning, big brands, recognizable brands that are looking for quote unquote AI transformation managers, right?
Whoa.
And I look at that and I go, what does that even mean, an AI transformation manager, right? What does that I mean, that just means someone who's really good at change management, quite honestly. It has nothing to do with the technology. So why not just call it what it is, which is you're looking for someone who can help execute transformational change in an organization and needs to be skilled at that. Oh, and by the way, AI is one of the technologies that we want to be able to do, because what you're telling me by hiring an AI transformation agent is this is a temporary job, right? Because once I'm done transforming you to AI, then what is my job?
Yeah. Well, that was, it's funny. I had a conversation earlier today about, trends and how marketing needs to respond to trends. And obviously the example everybody's giving at the moment is AI. And the answer I gave was just stick to your marketing fundamentals. It's an enabler of what you're trying to achieve, and the thing you're trying to achieve remains the same. So to your point about being a transformational AI person, what's the transformation trying to make, and does AI help with that transformation? I think
right.
Right.
Well, what are we transforming into, right? It's like, it's like and tell me how a transformational AI manager is going to recognize whether the company has actually transformed in a productive way or not. You know what I mean? It's like, what does good look like to that manager? Is it that they've basically deployed, they use now AI for everything and basically fail at everything because they don't know what the hell they're doing, but they've transformed, but they don't know what the hell they're doing, right?
Yeah, there's a dashboard on it, which is the number of ChatGPT seats that you have. We're now at 98% ChatGPT penetration.
But here's the completely fucked up thing, though.
Yeah.
I know a company that now has that dashboard. That is basically, how many people are using they have an enterprise version of ChatGPT in their content marketing and writing crew. Wow. And basically they are tracking how many people are using it on a day-to-day basis and being basically applauded if they use it more, because obviously they paid for this thing. So they need the usage out of it. So
that's an interesting. That is an interesting dilemma there, isn't it? Because it's like, I use ChatGPT for everything. I only turn up really for about half an hour a day.
Right.
I'm one of your biggest users.
That's right.
Thumbs up. Look at your dashboard.
Exactly.
I haven't had an original thought in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's interesting. So back to the point. So I mean, I don't know how this Tom Goodwin post is kind of not completely relevant, really, but really I think is stating the bleeding obvious, which is in order to effectively use ChatGPT, you've got to know about the topic you're asking it to do, and it's an assistant.
Totally, you have to be able to recognize what good looks like, because it's as we've talked about it on this show before, where it's the classic. I've been stealing Ben Affleck's quote, right, which is the craftsman knows how to do the thing and the artist knows when to stop, right? Wow. And so, if you're using generative AI for your work, you have to be able to recognize when to stop. And basically say that's good enough, or that's extraordinary, or that's remarkable enough for me to stop using it and stop editing it and stop creating it, because otherwise you would never stop, or you would be satisfied with the first thing that comes up. There was somebody today who posted, it was Chris Penn actually, who posted, he was at Social Media Marketing World this week and noticed that there were a few slides from speakers who had literally cut and pasted from the AI search from Google, right? And basically cut and pasted their paragraph about what a thing is. And he was pointing out that it's often wrong. It's often incorrect, right? And so you have to be able to recognize as a subject matter expert that, yes, that is incorrect.
Mm-hmm. And who wants to show up at an event to see that shit? You know what I mean?
Right? Right?
Get that at home.
Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you, mate. So a couple of things apart. So I know that you where would we hear things that are maybe inspired by the great knowledge network that is ChatGPT, but written by your good self? as an expert?
You will find it at our little wonderful corner of the web called seventhbear.com.
Yes. And also, having chatted to Kathy and also witnessed this very event, you've created something that's not a podcast. It's not a video series. It's a podcasty, video-y thingy, also called...
And I will tell you, that's precisely what we call it.
It's a new genre.
We are testing out this new concept of basically taking our webinars to more of an on-demand, conversational, every other week, so fortnightly as it is, video, weird, podcasty thingy that we're calling Bear in Mind, which is basically looking at the one topic per every other week, having a conversation about what we're seeing, the practical applications of it, et cetera. And so, our first episode came out last week, and our next episode is actually coming out next week. So by the time people read this, they can look forward to seeing it on our LinkedIn, which is Seventh Bear, on our LinkedIn. And then, of course, it'll be on our website on the same day.
Nice. I'll include a link to where I think that's going to sit in your insight section. Fantastic. And I'm, as I posted on LinkedIn, I'm delighted to see it in the world. You and Kathy chatting about a topic is a great deal of fun. And then
it's a reminder that I need to fix the navigation on our website, because that's just shit right now. So
when may we spin the dial on the interwebs, where are we going to find you?
You'll find me on LinkedIn primarily, and as well as on my own podcast with my friend Joe, which is This Old Marketing.
Nice, man. And most important to me, will I see you in the bar next week?
You will indeed.
I look forward to it, man. I'll see you then. Thank you, Robert. Who needs Tom Goodwin when you've got Robert Rose in the bar? I know we talk about AI a lot, but it's interesting seeing how that conversation is shifting, particularly around skills and around hiring. So I thought it was worth having a chat with him about that. So that's a wrap on our visit to the Rose and Rockstar. Thank you for joining us and listening. You can find links to me and Robert and the article we discussed in the show notes at rockstarcmo.com. And why not sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Beat? There's a link on the website, or stick The Beat by Rockstar CMO into your Googles, and I'm sure that you'll find it. Coming up this week on Rockstar CMO FM, Jeff is in the studio as we continue to discuss the CMO's first 90 days. In the meantime, remember, as Dewey Finn said in the film The School of Rock, you can't just say it, man. You got to feel it in your blood and guts if you want to rock.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Robbie Samuels hosts the On the Schmooze podcast. Robbie, tell listeners what to expect from the show.
Since 2015, I've interviewed entrepreneurs who overcame challenges to achieve success in their field or industry. Tune in to On the Schmooze to listen as I ask deep questions to elicit untold stories about leadership and networking.
And where can people subscribe?
Find the show at ontheschmooze.com or on marketingpodcast.net, or just search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard them. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.